Driving across to our new office in North Charleston, which is a bit of a drive for me, but since we got the car that kind of drives itself, I'm just sitting here chilling and visiting with you, but of course making sure that it's safe to do so. Saw a story this morning come across the news wire that said that DNA has to do with a lot of what makes us successful or not. The story went on to say that by your DNA you can tell whether a person is inclined to be educated or not, and if the person is inclined to be successful based on the fact that they take education well. Well, I just want to share something with you that if you're relying on your DNA and your history and your family makeup to be that determines whether or not you're successful, you're sadly mistaken. You see, not until the very end of the article does it actually point out that this is accounted for maybe 4% of the actual statistical significance as to whether or not a person's going to be successful. So if you want to rely on 4% of your DNA telling you whether or not you're going to be a success, or wondering based on your family tree who is successful and if that's going to result in you being successful, then I just want to share with you, you don't have to rely on your family background as to whether or not you can make it in this business or any other. You see, when we go to these trips, and this year we went to 6 company trips, 1 FMO trip. When you go on these trips and you find the other people that are the tops in the industry, people who have made it and excelled above all others that have, gone through that same exercise of selling company products and working in the industry, you find some common traits among the people there, but not any of them were college professors, and hardly any of them have even college degrees. I would not have gotten a college degree if I did not work at it part-time for at least 6 years while I was at the sheriff's office, working day and night, toiling, so that one day I could be promoted to lieutenant, woo, and make maybe $65,000 a year. That was the ultimate goal for why I pursued an education, and it didn't come easy. It was not fun at all, and ultimately ended up with a bachelor's degree in organizational leadership, which I think is absolutely and completely worthless. Not that education itself is worthless. That's not the point. The point is, it's not the pursuit of education or the passion for education that determined my success. And it's not the passion for education and, secondary education past high school that determine whether or not the agents that I see on all the trips are or were successful. The thing that determines whether they're successful or not is solely the question of their work ethic. And that too is a learned attribute. Well, I've seen people who can work their butts off and work circles around people who are educated. But in this business, what's unique about it, I think it's fascinating, is that it's a complete and utter result of your effort that you put in. Not necessarily the hours, or as some purport in our industry, the miles. The more miles you drive, the longer you take to get to your destination, the more mentally prepared you're going to be and the harder you're going to fight for that close. I don't believe any of that. It's working smarter along with working hard. And that's the sole determinant. That's the only factor that we see in successful people, the tops of the leaderboards. Sure, some pursue education to the point that they want to be specific in their industry. Some pursue certified financial planner. Some get designations that help them in their career. Sometimes even as much as the letters do, to tell somebody you've got letters after your name. But more importantly than anything that I've ever seen is the work ethic of the people who are showing up. And we had this discussion. It was in Canada, sitting around with the call center owners, and they were sharing with me the difference between people who are always going to be the employees and people who you can tell based on how much they put in. They always put in more than is expected. They always put in more than is required so that they can jump to the next level. And that's not just true in insurance. That's true in every industry. If you ever want to be promoted and go beyond, it's those people that step out and go, okay, here's my job description. How about I do a little bit more? How about I do a little bit more? And what the call center owners were pointing out is when the lights are shut down, everybody's gone except you've got your desk lamp on and you're the last one working during AEP until 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, because you've got to solve these problems. You've got to get the correspondence out there. You've got to get payroll done. You've got to get the things done that no one else is willing to do unless you pay them for it, and you sit down and you say, okay, that is your task. And many times they'll do just a little bit enough to wait for that 5 o'clock bell. Boom, they're gone. Those are not going to be the successful business people. They will be the successful contributors toward your business. They can be the best possible employees, and that team will be responsible for your organization growing. But when you're identifying leadership and you're identifying successful principles that's going to help you go in your business, you have to be the one that naturally, or not necessarily instinctively, you just have to make the choice that you're going to be the one that works late. You're going to be the one that works, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, finding out new marketing methods and listening to podcasts and watching videos of people who are doing things on the cutting edge, finding out what they're doing, so that during the business hours, 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 or 11 to 8, whenever you're working, talking to your prospects, you have the knowledge that you've invested in the time that was for most people, just sit around and watch TV time. Burning Netflix with the movie madness and the marathons of watching 500 shows at one time. It's the decision of the people that are coming in early or watching this stuff from home, investing in their time after hours. Those are the people that are going to succeed. But this 4% attributed to your DNA, where it comes from, it's kind of laughable. I'm the only one in my family that's gone to college. And I can tell you this, it was not because I was pushed by my DNA. And I can also say with certainty that not one thing that I learned from the educational world has translated into success in business, other than the fact that I had to be disciplined enough to make the choice and the decision to go through the hoops necessary to get that piece of paper. That, in and of itself, that work ethic that it required above and beyond my normal job, while I was already working whatever it was, 42 or 44 hours a week at the sheriff's office, still studying insurance, wanting to do final expense insurance at that time, and then also doing my education at the college level. All those things together, when I don't have law enforcement to do anymore, and I don't have the education to pursue anymore because I got it, what's left to do with all that 15 or 16 hours a day? Funny thing I saw on Facebook the other day, and listen, to each his own or her own. Whatever you want to do is fine, but I saw a final expense agent who's a recruiter and recruits lots of other final expense agents. He said that last week, which as the time I'm recording this, 4th of July was last week, and it was in the middle of the week, so it kind of messed up the week. People took off Wednesday, but then they came back to work on Thursday. He said, this week was a bummer, we missed out on some work, but next week I'm going to give it a full 35 or 40 hours of work. And I thought, you're building a business, actively building and recruiting and training and selling and everything else in a business, and you're going to maybe put in 35 or 40 hours? I really don't know what those results are going to lend themselves to. And maybe he has a partner that's going to put in the other 40 hours. I mean, I don't know. Because I was wondering, I asked him even on Facebook, hey, why are you working your business part-time? Full-time results are what's probably needed to get your business launched and off the ground. He wrote back and said that he teaches a class at church, and he's active in a softball team, and he coaches his kids and this and that and all these other activities, and that's a lifestyle that he wants to lead. And again, great, good for him. And I can tell you now that since we're gone 2 or 3 months a year on trips, I can understand the lifestyle that you want to do as a result of having built a business and as a result of enjoying the fruits of your labor. But when you're getting started and you're building a business and you're building a team and you're responsible for hiring, recruiting, training, supervising, selling, getting the lead generation, all that stuff yourself, you better be putting in more than 40 hours and thinking that that's full time. And it's a direct result of what you decide to put into your business that's going to get the results, not your DNA. Be encouraged. What that means is it's available for everyone. It's only a choice. I know you got other things going on in your life. I know it's normal to kick back in your recliner and pop open a cold one and sit there and watch baseball for 4 hours or whatever it is that they watch baseball for. I've never been a big proponent of that, but I've seen the result of doing both ways. I've got lots of friends, I've got lots of family that sits there and watches whatever sports are on. Baseball season, soccer, football, now it's basketball season, and they invest all this critical time that you'll never get back on not building a business so you can have a walk-away lifestyle income and have freedom. You can go, buy a soccer team if you want to. No, not that. It's wasting days and days and days worth of time watching other people go live life, watching other people build fortunes. And it's just a decision that you have to make when you become an adult. and everybody's depending on you for whether or not you're going to all succeed as a team and as a family. But it's available to everybody. Go get yours. Have a great day. Be encouraged. Bye-bye.